Welcome to SDH's coverage of everything going on in USL League Two. We're down to the round of 8 and your Friday release. All 4 matches happening all day and all night. It is all USL League Two. You want to watch the matches, go to USLLeagueTWO.com. Follow the links and you can watch the final 8 that have made it to the conference finals. So how did the final 8 make it to the conference finals? What we'll do is we'll go in chronological order. 2 games at Atwood Stadium, 3 o'clock and 7:30. Then 2 games at Town Bank Stadium, 5 and 7:30 Eastern Time. We'll take you through. We'll let you know how folks made it all the way in. 3 o'clock Eastern Time, Ballard FC, Ventura County Fusion. And in the conference quarterfinals, Ballard played New Mexico United's U23s. Here's the highlights courtesy of Ballard FC, their own selves.
Attackers for Ballard FC and the Sun. It's always a tough battle when you have to throw Mother Nature into it. We are underway here at Interbay Soccer Stadium. Long ball out of the back. And Lars Hellerin gets the ball in his hands early.
To interchange. We'll come back to that here in a moment.
Kornzowski now has an opportunity. The flag stays down. His shot, it scores! And we have our opener in Seattle.
Out of nothing. Ball picked up in play. Kornzowski in way too much space. United back line staring at each other in disbelief.
Right foot, it's Robles, it's a perfect ball. Robles, he finds it underneath the bar. Just that quick into the second half. Ballard FC doubles their lead.
Hybrid zonal.
Right foot service on the way.
Fantastic save from Lars Hellerin.
Gets low, it was point blank. Our minimum is gone. Rode is in behind. Does Ballard FC have one more in them? Rode with a heavy touch, a sliding effort. Kornzowski makes it 3-0. The cherry on the cake, everything that you could ask for and so much more. And there's our final whistle. 90 minutes played, Ballard FC on top 3-0, winning this opening round of 32 matchup. They move on to the round of 16 Sunday against Oleytown FC.
So after the win in the conference quarters, Ballard would take on Oleytown FC. They would win that one by the final of 3-0. Also in that matchup, it's Ventura County Fusion going back into the quarterfinal play. Ventura County at Ventura College knocked off Monterey Bay FC2 by the final of 1-0. Then in the conference semis, a 4-1 win over San Francisco Glens at Ventura College. So taking advantage of their home and making the most of it, 4 goals in the conference semis, and that earned them the right to play Ballard FC, 3 o'clock at Atwood Stadium. In the second one, 5 o'clock Eastern Time, Town Bank Stadium, Villages and Little Rock Rangers. Villages in the quarters knocked off South Carolina United by the final of 2-1 in Asheville, North Carolina. Then they would in turn knock off the home team. 1-0 win, Villages over Asheville City, and the Villages would make it into the second of the 4 conference finals. Little Rock Rangers, we've been following their path as they have made it into the round of 8. Conference quarterfinals for them. For Little Rock, it was a 2-0 win over AHFC Royals to get them into the conference semis. 14,000 fans showing up. Great showing of support for Rangers and for soccer in the Southwest. 2-0 win over Texas United. And Little Rock at War Memorial with the crowd behind them would make it into the round of 8. Time to catch up with Trent Eskola and find out what has been what the week has been like getting ready for the round of 8.
So has everybody been able to catch their breath yet from what happened this past weekend?
A little bit. They've tried to kind of regroup for this weekend, so it's been a lot last couple days.
How crazy was it playing Friday, Sunday, and getting all that stuff together? Break down the weekend for me and what it was like out there on the pitch for those that didn't get a chance to see it.
So Friday was a busy day. We had obviously the Texas United and Nona game before, and it saw a very light crowd, and then people kind of started filing in, and then all the fireworks kind of got started. We had tailgates going on, and we ended up getting a crowd of just over 7,000 people out to that. And then we were back in the office Saturday, and we were prepping for Sunday since we beat the Royals 2-0, and we were kind of a little skeptical about Sunday, so we came back in Sunday morning, and it just same thing happened. It looked like a light crowd, but by the end, by probably halftime, we had almost 8,000 people this time in the crowd, and just everything went smoothly from a front office standpoint.
What about on the field? Who were the team MVPs that got you through this weekend to get you into a conference final?
Ooh, the team MVPs. I mean, you can't keep two clean sheets and not say the goalkeeper Robluski and the entire back line started the same back four in both games, and they when you don't concede to a Royals team that scored 30 goals in their season, and then Texas United who scored 76, that's pretty good. But outside of that, I mean, Campese performed well. He scored the second goal. John Coca scored the opener against Texas United. But I think the player that a lot of people were kind of surprised by was the return of Kai Phillip, a striker from last year from Evansville. We brought him in for the playoffs, and he scored on his debut back and put in a really good last 45 when he was on. So,
what has study hall been like getting ready for Villages? And considering that that's a 5 o'clock start, you're the early game that's a part of a doubleheader at Town Bank in a couple of days' time. What's study hall been like getting ready for Villages, who knocked off Asheville City, who a lot of folks were going to think, okay, they had home field, that they were going to be the ones to make their way through?
it's been interesting. We've watched a lot of Asheville, and I think being able to watch Nona in person kind of gave us a little advantage to knowing what Villages is like when you have a team that's tied twice against them. They seem to be about similar, so we kind of have a good grasp on what Villages is going to throw at us. But it's the last 8, so you never know. People are gonna throw things in because one game away from playing in the national semifinal.
For Lionsbridge, let's go through their path and let you know how they made it through. In the conference quarterfinals, Lionsbridge ended up with a 1-0 win over Charlotte Eagles, and all of this has been done with them at Town Bank Stadium. So once again, taking advantage of home field. Then a 3-1 win over North Carolina Fusion got them the win in the conference semi. That sets them up as one of the teams in the conference final and hosting the entire 2 of the 4 championship games. Once again, hosting Villages, Little Rock, Lionsbridge, Ocean City Nor'easters. We caught up with co-founder Mike Vest to find out what preps have been like and what the ride has been like for Lionsbridge. Lionsbridge and Ocean City. For Lionsbridge, let's go through their path and let you know how they made it through. In the conference quarterfinals, Lionsbridge ended up with a 1-0 win over Charlotte Eagles, and all of this has been done with them at Town Bank Stadium. So once again, taking advantage of home field. Then a 3-1 win over North Carolina Fusion got them the win in the conference semi. That sets them up as one of the teams in the conference final and hosting the entire 2 of the 4 championship games. Once again, hosting Villages, Little Rock, Lionsbridge, Ocean City Nor'easters. We caught up with co-founder Mike Vest to find out what preps have been like and what the ride has been like for Lionsbridge.
All right, it's the weekend. You're in the final groupings of the year. How does it feel?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's the first time for us to make it this far through the USL League Two playoffs, and we're really excited to be still going and to be able to do it in front of our great fans here on the peninsula in Virginia.
So if I had asked you before the season started, or if I told you before the season started that this was what was going to be happening with Lionsbridge this year, what would you have told me?
We'd take it. I think we came into the season with some really high expectations. You know, we had won the division last year. Had made it to the playoffs for a second straight year last year. So we had really high hopes and high expectations coming in. But you really never know how the season's going to unfold, and you can't ever take success for granted. So if you had said, you know, back in April that we would be here and have a chance to be playing it in this round on this weekend, we'd be thrilled.
For someone who's never seen you play, you're my color guy for this question. We're doing this on TV.
Okay.
Title card comes up, stadium, title over wide. Then the play-by-play guy turns to the color guy and says, okay, for Lionsbridge, here's the guys that we're focusing on here in the open. For someone who hasn't seen Lionsbridge this year, who would be those guys that you would be talking about for folks that'll be seeing you for the first time this weekend?
Well, I think what stands out with us is we've been really good. Our defensive record's really good this year. I think we've given up 11 goals against 14 league opponents when you include the 2 playoff games. So we've been pretty stout defensively. We've been able to score lots of goals, but I think, when you're allowing less than a goal per game, you're going to give yourself a pretty good chance. We've got a great goalkeeper with Tyler Hogan. Our back four has been really good lately. And so I think groups really kind of come together late, especially defensively. The statistics have been good all season long, but I think we've only given up maybe 1 goal in the last 4 games, I think it is. So so it'll be tough to break down. And it should make for interesting because I know Ocean City is really, really good.
Well, and you mentioned the lack of the defense that you've had so far, especially recently. And I think it speaks a lot to how things have been built, considering that last weekend you're having to do it on short rest. You have 1 round, you make it through, there's a day off, then you're going again. To have that kind of a stout defense that can respond to the way that it did in the last round of the playoffs, I think also speaks well for it.
Yeah, for sure. And especially because North Carolina Fusion's so good. They've been good for so long. They're a good passing team. We had to go 10v10 for the last 35 minutes or so on tired legs and a short weekend and a lot of heat. So I think certainly when you're able to play well defensively, it's just going to give you the best chance, especially in a format like this where it's knockout, and somebody's going to have to advance.
So then let me ask you this. What's it been like for you to build Lionsbridge to where it is right now, to be a part of the fabric there in Virginia and see how things have continued to grow? What's it been like to build this project to where it is coming into this weekend?
Well, a minute ago, you asked me what if we'd have talked about this in the preseason, if we'd have expected to be here. And I said, hopefully. But if you'd have asked me that question 6 years ago, I would have said, no way. I think the amount of progress that we've made as a club and the way that we've really become ingrained in the fabric of the community here, to have the loyal support that we have, it's been beyond anything we could have reasonably expected. Everyone has high hopes when they start these things up that, they'll be able to kind of replicate some magic that you've seen in your cities and other markets and folks that you've had on your show. And we were hoping that we'd be able to do that, but to actually see it come to life, and to know that our fans are going to be there in any weather, rain or shine, or like maybe this weekend, I think the heat index is supposed to be around 105. So, which I think a lot of people will be dealing. They're all going to be there. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be something that hopefully we'll be able to create a lot of memories this weekend. And just when you think back about kind of where it was, when we first announced in November of 2017, it's just really, really special.
The 4th matchup is at Atwood Stadium. Once again, Flint City Bucks and Des Moines Menace. Flint City going in through the conference quarters. They got to beat Fort Wayne FC 3-2 and added extra time, 3-2 in AET. Flint City at Bishop John Darcy in Fort Wayne knocks off the home team, which gets them into the conference semifinals. Flint City shuts out Chicago City SC by the final of 2-0, and that gets them into the final 7:30 start against Des Moines Menace. And Des Moines Menace worked their way through, and they would have a 3-1 win over RKC Third Coast at Valley Stadium, which would get them into the conference semifinals. Here's your highlights of that matchup with Des Moines and Thunder Bay. It would take a while, courtesy of our friends at We Are Iowa, Local 5.
The Des Moines Menace have built a culture that takes them deep into the playoffs nearly every year, and tonight they can head back to the conference finals in front of their home fans at Valley Stadium against the Thunder Bay Chill. First, a penalty kick. Opportunity for the Chill, but Ryan Troutman makes the save. We stay at 0-0, but the momentum doesn't last long. The Thunder Bay finds the back of the net and goes up 1-0. The Menace go scoreless until added time in the second half, and it's Lagos Kunga to tie it up at 1. He's fired up, so's the team, so we head to extra time, and it's Drake alum Leroy Enzaguzzi to put the Menace up. The Menace go on to win 3-2, and they're moving on in thrilling fashion and flipping on to the next round.
Lagos Kunga, known to a lot of folks in the southeastern footprint, really doing well there for Des Moines Menace as they have officially made the round of 8. Once again, go through USL League Two, USLLeagueTWO.com. You can follow along on all 4 matches and watch them at 3, 5, and the 2 at 7:30 for the multi-screen experience. Once again, thanks to the teams in Little Rock and at Lionsbridge to set you up, and thanks to Ballard and Des Moines Menace for the highlights. Enjoy the matchups in USL League Two. If you're in market, if you're at Atwood or at Town Bank or close by and can catch it, please do. It's the round of 8 as we're trying to determine a national champ in USL League Two. If you are in market and can't, follow along through social media channels and all the local providers. And once again, go to USLLeague2.com. You can watch if you are out of market as well. For everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Thanks for hanging out with us. That's your preview of what's going on, the final 8 in USL League Two.